Hello, awesome discrete mathematics students, and welcome to week 8. So in this last week, we began exploring some of the logical structures of proof, and we did some applications with truth tables as well, specifically applied to circuits. This week, we're going to build a little bit more on that logic, and we're going to take a look at a different kind of proof structure known as the proof by method of induction. Now, the discussion board I really want you to attempt first, because the idea behind this discussion board is to kind of get us to think about how we might propose a strong enough logical argument to support the answer to the question in this week's discussion board. So I really want you to focus on that this week. I hope that you find it interesting and that it kind of challenges you to think about what do we do in situations where there isn't a straightforward method of proof. So then we'll actually get into this week's lesson. We'll get into this more formalized approach to mathematical induction. And in short, it allows us or enables us to prove something that has infinitely many statements. Okay, so far we've just taken one compact statement and we've been able to prove it. For example, the sum of two even numbers is an even number, and that's just one statement. Now, some statements are written in such a way that this following proposition holds for all integers. Okay, well, there are infinitely many integers, and so there are infinitely many statements that it works for this case, and it works for this next case, and the next case after that. And those situations call for us to prove infinitely many instances, infinitely many variations of that statement, which is impossible to do. We'd be committed to that work for the rest of our lives. So this method of induction allows us to kind of create a domino-like structure. You might remember as a kid, maybe you played with dominoes and you stacked them up vertically and try to tip one over and watch them all fall. And that's kind of the idea, that we just need to do some setup work for this type of proof. We'll kind of deduce what kind of logic that requires, and then in just a matter of a few steps, we can prove that something is true for infinitely many cases, which seems sort of difficult to fathom, but it is possible, and that's what we're going to focus on. Now, we'll only have this one lesson this week, but with that said, this is a challenging lesson, mainly because it's not just like, here's what you do, but it's here is the thought process. And so anywhere where there's a strong thought process involved, this is going to require some time to let this all simmer. So first, treat the discussion board as a lesson in and of itself. So focus on this and spend some time problem solving. You don't need to know exactly what to do, but rely on your own intuition and your own thinking and reasoning skills, and then progress to the lesson. And I do have some things flipped around in this video. This is actually week 8, but I will I'll adjust these before you actually access them. And then once you hit the lessons, spread that out across a couple of days, because you really need that time. We need that time for something like this to sort of sit and process in our brains for a few days. If we attempt this lesson in one day and hope to do that and tackle the homework, I think there's going to be a lot of disappointment, because it's not just something where, hey, show me what to do and then I'll do it. It takes a bit of time to wrap our minds around it and then to process it, absorb it, and be able to apply it. So that's why there's one lesson. It's not just because I want to be nice this week, although I do, of course, but it's because I know that this is a challenging lesson and it requires more than one day. Now, with that said, don't think about it as a challenging lesson. Just realize that the way to make this less challenging is to piecemeal it, break it up into pieces. So maybe you want to view the entire lesson video set and then go back and look at it piece by piece, or maybe you want to break up the videos However you choose to do that, think about this as a week-long task. So then we'll have just that one homework assignment that'll be due on Sunday, and then the corresponding quiz for that lesson. So I hope you find this week interesting. And more importantly, as you know, with this class, we're developing a way of thinking as opposed to a basis set of formulas, and here's what you do and here's when you do it. Thinking is really important because a lot of times, as a lot of us are in computer science or going in the direction of computer science. Computer science problems are not well defined. It requires us to define them well and then to use our problem-solving strategies that we have to come up with maybe code or ways of implementing an algorithm. With that said, I hope you enjoy the week. As always, reach out with questions, use those questions forums, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with in this week's discussion. Take care and have a great week.